My name is Penn. Gillette is my partner, Teller. We are Penn and Teller, and we are in Cairo, Egypt. And we're going to be searching for the Gali Gali men, the street performers, street magicians of Cairo. It's the street magicians. We're in. Are you getting this? Were you able to hear me during this? So here we are on the very busy streets of Cairo, looking for some street performers. Let out your clutch. Well, I don't know how they would work these streets without getting killed. Walk proudly. You're half of Penn and Teller.
It's Penn and Teller. They're on the road together, but their magic carpet's just a dirty rug. So long, Las Vegas. They'll go someplace contagious and get infected by the magic bug. Around the world, down exotic streets, to gaze upon amazing and disgusting feats. Adventure calls, have you got the cups and balls to stomach blood and guts and gore and more? Come join them as they travel and the mysteries unravel on the Magic and Mystery Tour.
The cups and balls is probably one of the oldest tricks in magic. Back in Vegas, we do our own version. But the Gali Gali men of Egypt did it first.
Gali, 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 gali.
Hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. Before Penn and Teller, Ed Sullivan was the guy you counted on to bring the world to your living room.
In New York before going to Europe, and the greatest of all magicians and you youngsters at home are really going to love him, the great Gali Gali. So let's have a nice day.
In 1949, he introduced us to one of the first Gali Gali men to make his way out of Egypt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look closely. I have right up the table 3 empty cups.
Born Mahgoub Hanafi in 1902 in Port Said, Egypt, the magician known as Luxor Gali Gali comes from a long line of street performers and is one of the rare few to make a name on the world stage. His trademark trick was, indeed, the cups and balls with a little Egyptian twist.
Now I got one more here again. Now it's going to be...
But what of his descendants? We've been told that the Gali Gali men are now gone. They're a thing of the past. But we're not sure that's true. So, being the adventurers that we are, we decided to see if we can find the Gali Gali men, the street magicians of old Egypt, for ourselves. Oh, don't hit the child.
Food.
You know, there's nothing Teller and I like more than embracing a new culture.
Cuisine?
We're not going to eat anything. We have, in our hotel rooms, we have cans and cans of tuna fish shipped over here from Canada.
Well, you know, one of the best things about going to a new place is trying the cuisine,
trying
you
the
know?
food.
I mean, and there's some amazing dishes
And that's
here.
also a good way to lose 30 pounds.
Well, you never know. I mean, it
I'm
could be a
missing?
fly that lands on you that's going to give you the disease that
That's
you've never
true.
had,
Meet
you know?
Shona,
It's
our
fine.
guide, translator, and when she's looking where she's going, our driver.
Well, you know, I wouldn't eat the street food.
So
Right.
although we're not, you know, germophobic Howard Hughes, we are falling into that role.
You're becoming one in Egypt.
We are. I'm not, you know, I won't be growing my fingernails out, but I am from Vegas. So we're being very careful.
You're being
so I had
wusses.
tuna fish on crackers, and then I had tuna fish on crackers. But I brought those. The Gali Gali men of Egypt, we kind of think are our last chance. You know who they are, the Gali Gali men? Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the Gali Gali men are street magicians. They used to perform for all the tourists and I guess also for the locals, but they did a different kind of magic than the kind of stuff we picture in the States. And we are not particularly liked by Western magicians. I mean, we thought maybe the Gali Gali men would like us because, one, they couldn't understand us, which is always a big advantage, and two, we do smaller things, like we're going to have you pick a card. Just Tell's going to riffle down the deck and just say stop whenever you like.
Stop.
Oh, that's a good place. Now look at the card. I'm not going to look at it.
Okay.
I'll be looking over at the pyramids in the far distance, and now that card's lost. Watch his hands. Don't let me misdirect you.
Right.
Stare at his hands. I mean, nothing fancy here. And so these magicians, these Western magicians, with their big stage shows, they've got, you know, boxes, and they torture women, and they got a smoke machine. Oh, what are you ready? Ready? And is this your card? 2 of diamonds. There it is. Show.
No,
not the two. Of course, not 2 of diamonds. We wanted to prove there was a 2 of diamonds in the deck because we thought you might be skeptical.
Right,
They have wind
okay.
machines, smoke machines, bad white boy Motown music. 7 of hearts, is that your card?
That's not it.
Of course it's not your card, because it changes magically to your card, which is the 4 clubs.
No.
Oh, we're getting closer, though.
Sorry.
And yes, but look at all the different cards in the deck. All different. So they have this whole style of doing magic that's different from ours, in that we now have the 3 of hearts, always a popular card, probably the one you didn't pick, because the 3 of hearts changes magically into the 2 of clubs. That's your card?
No.
So,
No. Sorry.
okay, so we're not liked by Western magicians, but the Galley men would love us. And somewhere, Shona, in this big, beautiful city, we're gonna find the magicians of Cairo. And is that your card? 3 of clubs.
That's it, yes.
Right on his back, the 3 of clubs. How do you get that card there? And how do you make it so big? Look at, there's mosques and people and falafel stands. Gully, 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 gully! Gully, 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 gully! Gully, 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 gully! Oh! This is Teller brushing his teeth with bottled water. I mean, Teller has goggles here that he wears in the shower so that he doesn't get stuff in his eyes when he's showering. And he actually put tape over his mouth to shower so he wouldn't get any microbes in there. So, you know, we're Penn and Teller, and we're here in Egypt, so you don't have to go. And don't mind that person there, it's one of the people that works with us. We were told that if there were street performers anywhere in Egypt, they would be in the cafes on Muhammad Ali Street in Old Cairo. They come here to swap news and look for work. Of all the magicians, someone called Karam is said to be the best and is rumored to be a relative of Luxor Gali Gali. Karam hasn't shown up yet, but some other magicians have. Our first taste of Egyptian magic, the Chinese slinking rings. I was sick of that trick in the United States, but I'm going to like it over here. You know, the more you see it, it grows on you. I get into magic when I was about 12 years old, and I was sick of the linking rings by the time I was 13. It seems like every guy and his brother and his camel do the linking rings. I'm starting to pick up the subtleties of it.
The linking rings, if properly done, is all about the ambiguity of light. It's all about the ambiguity of these gleaming things which look so much like they're linked, and then, a second later, look so much like they're unlinked. The overlapping looks so similar to the linking. There's a visual ambiguity that's quite beautiful. I thought I would show this old guy my closing linking ring move. And he tried it, and he tried to follow what it was that I was doing, and I showed him a second time. But there's just such a completely different way of thinking about magic that it didn't connect with him.
I think that's great.
Trying to pass this piece of technical information across the language barrier and not quite succeeding was a very powerful sort of moment.
And then Karam shows up, just back from performing in Dubai. We heard he's good, very good, and we're eager to see just what he can do and to find out if he is in fact related to Luxor Gali Gali. Oh boy, the Chinese linking rings. But that's just his warm-up. And then it's our turn to show the cafe some magic Penn and Teller style. Although we're upstaged by the waiter in the corner. Why don't you reach in there and take anyone you want? How about you? Okay, now you look at it, you show it around to the other people.
وريني الناس.
Teller will do the same over there.
وريني الناس بس مش لي. لا.
Okay, no, put it right back in there.
If it was.
There. Put it all back in there. We'll put it back in here. And we will lay them out on the table here. And now we have the Mystic Needle of Cairo. Now the cards are in there. Teller takes the needle and inserts it into his arm. And now the needle through the arm. Teller bleeds on the cards a little bit. And would you tell me, please, sir, which one of those cards has the most blood on it?
أي كارت عنده الدم أكتر من الثانيين.
You take a look at it. Is that one of the cards?
Number 2.
Is that yours?
No, thank you.
Okay. We have the Joe of Spades. There we still have to find your card. Is that right? Now to do that, Teller first bandages his arm. And now takes a razor blade, and to show you that it is indeed sharp, now watch carefully. Teller takes his eye, holds it open, and the card appears miraculously on my forehead. Is that your card there? Is that your card? Wonderful, wonderful act. It's just delightful.
Excuse me.
There's no business like show business. I've done some glass eating in the carnival, and I know some glass eaters, and he was showing off a lot. He was eating bigger bites than he really should have been.
Yum.
So last night we met our first magician, Karam. What can he tell us about the Gali Gali men and their cups and balls? And is he a direct descendant of Luxor Gali Gali? We've driven north to Ain Shams, a poor residential district on the outskirts of Cairo. This is where Karam lives, in a tiny two-room apartment with his mother, his wife, and his 5 kids.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
السلام عليكم.
السلام. أنا أب عن جد أنا جدودي وبتاع أنا جدي محجوب اللي كان قاعد مع عندك في أمريكا.
His grandfather, he was in America and he was a Gali Gali man, and that's how he learned from his grandfather who taught his father, and then his father taught him.
Your grandfather worked in America?
جدك اشتغل في أمريكا؟
محجوب ده واخد العمودية هناك في الألعاب السحرية أطلقوا عليه عمدة.
50 years that he became known there as a magician.
What name?
كان اسمه إيه؟
محجوب.
محجوب. His name is
محجوب جالي جالي.
تعرف كم جيل؟
So Karam says his grandfather's name is Mahgoub, and Luxor Gali Ghali's name is Mahgoub. How many Mahgoubs could there be? Now, there was a famous Egyptian magician in the U.S. called Luxor Gali Gali.
هو محجوب.
That's him.
هو.
Oh, that's him?
That's him.
هو yes.
He was on all sorts of shows. He had Sullivan's Show, and he worked the Rainbow Room in New York, and he was...
هو الشهر هناك باللعبة دي.
Yeah.
واشتغل بقى محجوب دي.
Those are his father's, and Mahgoub used to work with these specifically, these cups. So you can tell they're old, and they've got the indentations because they're old.
لو هو رجع للتاريخ.
If you went back and looked at old photos of him, you'd see these in the photos.
Was there a photo in that book? There was, wasn't it? Yep. And
there are the cups.
Oh, okay.
هم دول الكوبايات.
There you go.
Those are them.
Yeah, he lived in Las Vegas, where they also have pyramids. Are any of his family still living in Vegas?
في أهل محبوب في لاس فيغاس الأيام دي؟
لا كله بصي كان آخر حاجة أنا جدتي ميت عندها
حوالي. He's saying his grandmother, she died.
في أولاد بس احنا ما نعرفهمش.
There are relatives, but he doesn't know them at all. They're not in contact with each other.
Mahgoub performed in Luxor, Egypt for the likes of John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and the Aga Khan. He adopted the stage name Luxor Gali Gali for the place of his initial success. Though Karam never met his relative, their style seems to be the same. They even resemble one another.
Small chicken, I have it right up the table, little small chicken in line. Now, 1 chicken, exactly 2.
Watch the cup nearest the camera. Can you see him slip a 3rd ball underneath? It's classic Egyptian cups and balls. But then Karam is interrupted by his mother, who also wants to get in on the act. So, how cool was that? Oh, thank you so much. See, this is what happened here. I admired Teller's bottle of water, so he brought it over to me. That's what happened with the egg bag. Teller was trying to compliment her on how good the egg bag was, and he ended up getting it as a gift. You see, in our culture, in the United States of America, if you say, boy, that's a really nice BMW, the guy goes, yes, it is. But over here, you say that's a really nice egg bag, and they give you the egg bag. See, this is the egg bag that was given to Teller by Karam's mother. So, that's that. The egg bag. But even if Karam is from a long line of golly men and street magicians, he's never performed in the streets in his life. He says he's just a regular magician with a stage show.
And it's enormous. It's you know, it's big. It's big. The Sphinx is big. It's very big.
Yeah, I could figure that out myself.
I got the black one here.
Oh my goodness, this is
Nefertiti.
Nefertiti, yeah.
Yes, and I got the bigger one.
I dated her in high school. You know, this looks a lot like Cher. You don't have any Elvis memorabilia, do you? Do you have anything with Elvis on it? We're from the U.S. We liked our pyramids with Elvis.
You're American?
Yeah.
God bless America, buddy.
Yeah. And how much is this?
$10.
$10?
That's not
No, $5.
$5. Yeah. It's worth more than $5. I'll give you $7 for it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
They expect you to bargain.
I have the whole schmear here.
Sure.
I'll give you the whole schmear.
The whole schmear?
From the evil eye.
Yeah, I haven't had any
Get the evil eye away.
I have no evil eye problem. We're getting the evil eye here.
This is one more for gift.
No, I don't want that papyrus.
You will come in.
No, I don't want
This is for
papyrus.
gift.
No. I have a computer now. Oh dear.
Macville. Hi, hon, hi, hey.
Do I just get on like this?
Ship of the desert.
The what? The ship
of the desert.
Yes, I know. The ship of the desert. Avast, ye mateys! I'm on the ship of the desert.
Hold tight. Lean
Oh,
back.
gee. Be harder. Oh. Mother. Oh, sorry. Hello, Kim. I'm on a camel now. Yeah, we're trying to find magic. This is
Daisy. Yeah.
This is Daisy the camel.
He's going to get nice plate, nice t-shirt.
This was an exciting new experience on a spitting beast that wanted me dead. These are the actual cups used for the cups and balls by Penn and Teller. And this is the land where the cups and balls started thousands and thousands of years ago. And as you saw in the cafe, it's still being done. We do it in the United States of America with plastic. They do it here with the metal cups. The ones that Karam was using were over 150 years old.
1, 2, 3.
Last night, Karam did a trick for me in which he had 3 cups and 3 balls. He put 1 ball under each cup, and then after a certain amount of chat, revealed that there was 1 ball under each cup. A normal person looking at it would say, so what? But to a magician, this was an absolutely terrific trick. Because when he covered the first ball, he apparently stole that ball out and palmed it. And when he covered the second ball, he apparently inserted the ball that he had palmed. And when he covered the third cup, he apparently stole that ball out, and then he took one more look under the second cup. So to somebody like me, who's thinking about moves, I thought that he had snuck the balls from each of the end cups under the center cup. And then he asked me, how many balls are under each cup? And I said, 1, 1, 1. That's because I was playing the role of a sucker, right? I was saying, okay, I'll be nice to him. I'll be nice to this guy from this foreign country. I'll pretend to be a spectator. And then he lifted the cups. And lo and behold, it was 1, 1, 1, when I was absolutely sure that there were all three under the middle because I had seen him do the slides. It was absolutely amazing. And he completely took me in. And I don't think there's a nicer thing that you can do for a fellow magician than use his knowledge to fool the heck out of him.
It's really pure magic for magicians, and really cross-cultural and very, very mean-spirited, and totally snaked the little guy. Do you like my hat? Do you think? Do I look like a tourist? I'm worried about that. How about some Las Vegas magic here in the Egypt desert? See those pyramids? Remember what they look like, because pretty soon they'll be gone. Gully, gully, gully! Gully, gully, gully! And gone. Penn and Teller vanish the pyramids. Okay, we've seen the pyramids. And now back to looking for the Gali Gali men, the street magicians of old Egypt. No one knows how many people live in Cairo, but my best guess is 17,272,423. And every one of them drives. It's the second most polluted city in the world. Now, Cairo's a beautiful city full of friendly, wonderful people, and we enjoy everybody we met. But the air in Cairo, there's 17 million people in this little basin with no wind, and it's the feeling of being locked in a hermetically sealed closet with a rubber hose coming off the exhaust pipe of a 1962 Chevy V8 being revved. Gali Gali men used to board ships and entertain passengers with their tricks in Alexandria. Why not look there? Maybe the air's cleaner. Alexandria, named after Alexander the Great, home of Cleopatra, and also home of Mustafa of Alexandria, a magician, also called Bafa, who, if we're lucky, is going to swallow a snake for us. By his own admission, the greatest magician in all of Egypt. Bafa's signature trick is a snake swallow. He's out in the countryside trying to catch a snake, and we're on our way to find him. I'm still dealing with a little bit of my Cairo cough and congestion, but I'm still, you can't keep me down. And when you see me watching the trick, I'll have a proper tie on.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
Bafa says he invented the snake swallowing trick, and he's the only magician in Egypt who can do it. Okay. Did Bafa find a snake? You see, Bafa doesn't just catch snakes. He claims he can hypnotize them by repeating religious texts. Okay. I feel remarkably like Judy Garland as Dorothy.
باسم سيدي وسيدي أحمد شهاب الدين الرفاعي.
And there's sheep and children, and goats and geese.
Geese and ducks. Both, I think.
There. Have you found a snake?
لقيت تعبان هنا؟ لقيته هنا؟ والله؟ فين? He said he found one.
Oh, good. Well, that's a snake.
I'll just stand back a bit.
That's a nice one. Just molting a little bit, huh? This is so great.
هنشوف اللعبة يعني.
Well, let's get a little bit of a crowd. You want to do it for the kids?
هنعمل للأطفال؟
What? Yeah.
طيب. هنعمل لعبة. خليهم يجوا تعالوا. خليهم يجوا. تعالوا. تعالوا. تعالوا.
I don't know if that snake is the best crowd gathering I've ever seen. The snake doesn't seem to exactly pull them in. Now, if you're going to swallow a snake, you really don't want to be doing it with one that's shedding its skin. So although this might look like a man chasing a bunch of kids with a snake, to a magician, it's classic misdirection. Because in all the confusion, Baffa switched the snake he'd found for another one in his pocket. It looked like to me like he put a snake in his mouth and had it come out of his mouth. I'm very happy with that. You like that? You like that? Good. You like that? Is that a good trick? Is that a good trick, huh? Very good trick. We're all very happy with this. We spent an hour with Baffa on the pier in the harbor talking about his life as a magician. Born and bred in the city, he used to perform on the ships passing through this ancient port. It's a place full of history and faded glory.
قد ايه
يعني بقالي بتاع 35 سنة.
Said he's been a magician for 35 years. كان عندك كم سنة
7 سنين.
He began when he was 7 years old. He said that he would stand on the pier next to the ship and start doing tricks, and the tourists would see him and say, "Oh, nice small boy, you know, come and perform for us," and they would lift him up into the boat.
Oh, great.
And he'd perform for them.
He shows us the first trick he learned on the pier as a child. Wow. Baffa the Great of Alexandria, a real golly man, still performing on the streets. Back at the hotel, we start to think about Baffa's performance in the village. The snake thing in the mouth he invented, which the snake thing in the mouth is this whole level of trick that's very, very different from magic. It's more just, it's more equivalent to the kind of thing when you take a school bus in grade school, the kind of things you do to try to get the girls to throw up. It's much more of that kind of style of entertainment. There's a trick he does, the turban trick, which I guess we do 3 tricks with that same thing in probably, what, 3 minutes. You won't see this in real time because it wouldn't hold up for television, but he took about, what, 12 minutes? 15? 20? Long time to do the same trick very methodically. People stop and have conversations and then go back. It's a whole different, it is the opposite of the MTV generation. I mean, when he camps out there, he would just do it, different kids would come up and he'd do it again, do it again. Kids kind of cycle through, and it's all very, very gentle. Nothing like that. You know, we're going to tell you. There's just none of that stuff. It's just all very, I don't know if we ever got to know the real Baffa. The only thing we could find out is that he lives in the top story of a condemned apartment building in a seedy part of town. And the powers that be wouldn't let us film there. Like that one too? Good. He's digging it all. He's digging it all. After Baffa had finished his little show in the village, Teller went over and through our translator said that it was a really wonderful show and complimented him on the show and talked about some specific things that he'd really liked. And Baffa, of course, turned his back because when you're the great Baffa, what are compliments from Teller? Baffa of Alexandria couldn't be the only golly man. Was anyone still doing magic on the streets of Cairo? Meet Sobi Ashmawi, golly man of Cairo.
Penn. Penn.
Penn.
Penn.
My name is Teller.
Teller.
The whole Ashmawi family is golly. The son, the father, the grandfather, generation after generation of street performers. Like their ancestors before them, they work a crowd and pass a hat. Oh, yeah. I'm totally chickenless, sir. Oh, I have that kind of chicken in your suit feel. The chicken is so happy in my suit. We didn't get the whole translation, but I think the Ashmawi family was claiming to have been golly since a couple of generations after Tyrannosaurus Rex. So, did the cups and balls trick really originate here in Egypt? We're heading about 200 miles south to the ancient tombs of Beni Hassan, where we may find the earliest paintings of the cups and balls ever recorded. We're talking 4,000 years old. Ooh, the mystery of Beni Hassan. Ooh, the mystery. Ooh. I gotta get out of Cairo. I can't breathe. So we're gonna go up the Nile, right to there, which is Minya. And we're gonna leave our representation of Cairo, all of which ends up in your lungs, and we're going to go up the Nile of Cheese Whiz to Minya, where Teller will see the cups and balls, and I will be one of the huddled masses longing to breathe free. Teller's sitting here with Mortez, who's our government minder. He's here to make sure that all the wheels are greased, among other things, and make sure that we make Egypt look good, which we're doing a fine job of. And Teller's just playing with the cups and balls with Mortez. When Teller was 8 or 9 years old, he was given a book called This Is Magic by Will Dexter. Teller learned that the cups and balls is known to be the most ancient magic trick because there were pictures of it on the walls of the Beni Hassan tombs in Egypt. Since then, there's been some controversy as to whether or not that's true. Some people say it's not the cups and balls at all, but just a couple of guys playing some kind of game. But we're gonna see those tomb walls for ourselves.
Ooh, the mystery. Ooh, the mystery. Ooh.
So here we are in Minya. Minya was a hotbed of Islamic fundamentalism.
We going here?
And our government minders are visibly nervous about our security.
Oh, we have an armed escort? Which one is our armed escort? They're all armed?
Yeah, we'll have our own private army.
And they wouldn't let me bring my piece in.
We've arranged to meet up with Lila Brock, an Egyptologist working in the Valley of the Kings. She'll go to the tombs with us tomorrow, but her train is running late.
We've been typing in to our little fan club on the internet about our adventures over here. Since they all heard at our little fan club that we were eating canned pears, they've decided to, now it's 10 o'clock in the evening over here, and they're having canned pears at just about noon on the West Coast, and we're enjoying it with them. Same size cans, everything. We didn't tell them about the cheese whiz.
Getting on to midnight, and Lila still hasn't made it.
Road fatigue. So, Lila, we've had people with guns and trucks following us around all day, and we're doing that to be here to go to this tomb. And what are we going to see in the tomb?
Well, right now we're looking at this old volume by Percy Newbery.
The Percy Newbery?
The Percy Newbery, about Beni Hassan. And I'm just going to show you the illustration here. It shows two men, and they seem to have 4 cups between them.
Now, this is on the wall of a tomb, right?
Yes, of someone called Bakat III, and I think he was one of the governors of Beni Hassan during the Middle Kingdom.
I guess what I don't get is this guy's life story would be like, oh, you know, a lot of guys danced, and then these ladies danced, and we all applauded for them. We took some cattle to market, and then we punished some people, and then we did the cups and balls, and now I'm dead. Is that
it's not a very cheerful life.
Well, you know, it could be worse. You could be building pyramids all day.
Yeah, in some ways it's a demonstration of his wealth and importance to show that indeed he can employ these many people. I kind of get the impression of what's going on here is he's lifting something up, and there's something underneath it, or... Well, what do you think they're doing here anyway?
We could always edit this whole part out, but we'll just pretend a lot that we're really sure this is the cups and balls. It shouldn't take much to buy Egyptologists to say, absolutely, that's the cups and balls, so we haven't wasted our time. How much could she cost? You could grace her easy.
Oh, there's Beni Hassan.
We are much better protected than you can see. They won't let us shoot anyone in uniform, which is more than half of the population of this particular group is in uniform and has weapons. There's even boats around us that have guns, turrets, and stuff. But every time we try to shoot them, we get reprimanded. So we're being reprimanded right now.
They got a better gig than the city ones. The city beasts of burden have it tougher.
In some of the tombs, they dig a shaft, and they with a little room down at the bottom, and they would have put the actual burial in there. And what we're seeing that we call a tomb is actually the visiting area.
I see.
For relatives to come and leave offerings. So I guess 15 is down to the left.
Are these the numbers we're looking at? There's 22 here?
I think so, yeah.
So that means we maybe have like 7 to go?
So it looks like it.
I wanted to show off my math skills.
يا مرحبا احنا هنا موجودين في بني حسن.
He's welcoming us to Beni Hassan.
Thanks. Great sound. You go first, I'm afraid.
Okay. No, Ifrit's in here. Ooh, hello, Owie.
You want to go ahead? Oh, man.
There it is. That's it.
Well, this would have been very bright when it was first done, right?
Oh, very bright.
Brilliant color.
There does seem to be something more. The fellow who's on our right. We can see his hand there. You think he might be holding something?
I don't see anything at all, but Teller wants to take a closer look. You see anything that could be added there at all? We're really hoping to see some sort of ball type thing. It's very hard to look for cups and balls stuff because the whole room is just so awe-inspiring. I mean, even the way it sounds when you go is just terrifying. And to think that those are up there for 4,000 years. Weird thing is we're staring here, and right over there, there's a guy pulling a rabbit out of a hat. And he can look to him, and they're sawing a woman in half over here, and we're looking at the intermission thing, you know?
I'd like to take a much closer look.
But this isn't the only ancient entertainment painting in the tomb. There's juggling. Is there juggling? There is? Let's look at the juggling. Oh yeah, that's clearly juggling. I started out as a juggler. That's where I started before I get into magic. I'm much happy about this. I guess once again the jugglers have beat the magicians here. We have clear proof here that that's. Wow.
And there might have been something here. See? Look at the red. It almost looks as if the artist originally had the hand in this position with something red in it, that's right. And then he changed his mind and took it out.
It's hard to even think in here. It's hard to talk because the sound is so reverent. You know, even when you clear your throat, it sounds very, very important. It's all very awesome, not in the California sense, but in the literal sense. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I know that this thing is mostly on magic, but it's tangentially to see the juggling is pretty great. It's really great.
We don't know really whether that painting up there is indeed the cups and balls, but we do know that cups and balls is done throughout the world and has been done as far as we know forever. And this is our version of it that just uses 3 plastic cups and uses 3, in our case, aluminum foil balls. Simple props, simple moves. It's done like this. Watch carefully. Takes the ball, places it in his hand, vanishes it, and it appears underneath the cup. Take the second ball, place it in his hand, and it appears once again underneath the cup. It's a pretty simple plot. Takes the ball, places it in his hand, place it underneath the cup, and then it appears underneath the cup. Magically. Okay, 3 cups, 3 balls. You take the center ball, place it underneath the center cup. Each of the side balls, put them away. And then underneath the center cup, there is a 3-ball party. 3 balls underneath the cups. And then, little magic move, there's 1 more under the center cup, 1 more under either side, and of course, a potato for the finish. Is there a potato drawn up there at all? Now that's the way it would have been done 4,000 years ago. With we would hope that would amuse and amaze them, but it wouldn't shock them at all. We wanted, at the end of the 20th century, to add something a little bit more American, a little bit different. So we decided to break a few rules of magic, most of which go back probably much more than 4,000 years. First rule of magic is you never do the same trick twice. We're going to do the same trick twice. Second rule of magic is you never let the audience see your secret preparation. You can't let anyone know what is hidden in which pocket. The third rule of magic is you never tell an audience how a trick is done. I'm going to tell you exactly how this trick is being done. And the fourth rule of magic, I guess the pharaohs would have never thought of, but you never ever do the cups and balls with clear plastic cups. So here's the cups and balls again, this time in our version. We take the first ball, pretend to place it in our hand, having already stuck underneath the first cup. We take the second ball, simultaneously secreting underneath the cup, pretend to place it in our hand, and show it. We take the third and final ball, pretend to place it in our hand, pretend to show it underneath the cup, place it in the cup, then secretly secrete it and reveal it. Now we're all set for the second half. 3 cups all loaded, 3 balls on top. The center ball, place it in the center cup. Each of the side balls, we put them away, we don't need them anymore. We have 3 duplicates underneath the center cup. With these 3 balls, I come over here. Now this is not juggling. What this is called is misdirection. For I looking over here, Teller takes the final ball under. There's 1 more on either side. And of course, for our finish, a very Egyptian potato.
Maybe it was the blistering heat or the exhausting climb up the side of the mountain. Maybe it was just the romance of standing in an ancient Egyptian tomb. But the more distance we put between us and those wall paintings, the less it seems like there's any chance that they were the cups and balls. It seems just as likely they were ancient Egyptian bongo players or something. There may have been a rich Egyptian tradition of magic, but sadly it seems to have faded unless you count reruns of the Ed Sullivan Show. The reason we think of Egypt as so magical is because American and English magicians at the end of the 19th century painted hieroglyphs on their props to make them look more mystical. But coming up into the 21st century, if you want to find Egyptian magic, you're going to have to come here to Las Vegas, Nevada. How you doing? We're out of Egypt. Let my people go. You know, we've enjoyed all these galley men in their cafes and on their streets and so on, but the rings are nice and the cups and balls are nice, but we're from the United States of America, Las Vegas. We like to do big tricks, so we're going to do something with the pyramids. How about we float one of the pyramids in the air? What do you say? Now watch carefully as the pyramid floats right in the air. Golly, 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 golly! Golly, 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 golly! Oh! Whoa! Whoa, look at that! Golly, golly, golly! Oh, golly, golly, golly! Now see, that's some American desert magic right out here in the Egyptian desert. Oh, that's astonishing. It's in the back. Of all the magicians, someone called Karam is said to be the best and is rumored to be a relative of Luxor Gali Gali. Karam hasn't shown up yet, but some other magicians have. Our first taste of Egyptian magic, the Chinese slinking rings. I was sick of that trick in the United States. I don't even like it over here. You know, the more you see it, it grows on you. I get into magic when I was about 12 years old, and I was sick of the linking rings by the time I was 13. Seems like every guy and his brother and his camel do the linking rings. I'm starting to pick up the subtleties of it.
The linking rings, if properly done, is all about the ambiguity of light. It's all about the ambiguity of these gleaming things which look so much like they're linked, and then, a second later, look so much like they're unlinked. The overlapping looks so similar to the linking. There's a visual ambiguity that's quite beautiful. I thought I would show this old guy my closing linking ring move. Do it.
Well, you never know. I mean, it could be a fly that lands on you that's going to give you the disease that you've never had.
Meet Shona, our guide, translator, and, when she's looking where she's going, our driver.
Well, I wouldn't eat the street food.
Yeah. Right. So although we're not, germophobic Howard Hughes, we are falling into that role.
You're becoming one in Egypt.
We are. I'm not, I won't be growing my fingernails out, but I am from Vegas. So we're being very careful.
You're being,
so I had
wusses.
Tuna fish on crackers, and then I had tuna fish on crackers. The Gali Gali men of Egypt, we kind of think are our last chance. You know who they are, the Gali Gali men? Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the Gali Gali men are street magicians. They used to perform for all the tourists and I guess also for the locals, but they did a different kind of magic than the kind of stuff we picture in the States. And we are not particularly liked by Western magicians. I mean, we thought maybe the Gali Gali men would like us because, one, they couldn't understand us, which is always a big advantage, and two, we do smaller things, like we're gonna have you pick a card. Just Tell's gonna riffle down the deck and just say stop whenever you like.
Stop.
Oh, that's a good place. Now look at the card. I'm not going to look at it. Okay. I'll be looking over at the pyramids in the far distance, and now that card's lost. Watch his hands. Don't he misdirect you? Right. Stare at his hands. I mean, nothing fancy here. And so these magicians, these Western magicians, with their big stage shows, they've got boxes, and they torture women, and they got a smoke machine. Oh, what are you ready? And is this your card? 2 of diamonds. There it is. Show. No, not the two. Of course, not 2 of diamonds. We wanted to prove there was a 2 of diamonds in the deck because we thought you might be skeptical. Right. They have wind machines, smoke machines, bad white boy Motown music. 7 of hearts. Is that your card?
That's not it.
Of course, it's not your card because it changed. Hello, my name is Penn. It's my partner Teller. We are Penn and Teller, and we are in Cairo, Egypt. And we're going to be searching for the Gali Gali men, the street performers, street magicians of Cairo. It's the street magicians. We're in. Are you getting this? Were you able to hear me during this? So here we are on the very busy streets of Cairo, looking for some street performers. Let out your clutch. Well, I don't know how they would work these streets without getting killed. Walk proudly. You're half of Penn and Teller.
It's Penn and Teller. They're on the road together, but their magic carpet's just a dirty rug. So long, Las Vegas. They'll go someplace contagious and get infected by the magic bug. Around the world, down exotic streets, to gaze upon amazing and disgusting feats. Adventure calls, have you got the cups and balls to stomach blood and guts and gore and more? Come join them as they travel and the mysteries unravel on the Magic and Mystery Tour.
The cups and balls is probably one of the oldest tricks in magic. Back in Vegas, we do our own version. but the Gali Gali men of Egypt did it first. Changes magically to your card, which is the 4 clubs. No. We're getting closer, though.
Sorry.
And yes, but look at all the different cards in the deck. All different. So they have this whole style of doing magic that's different from ours in that we now have the 3 of Hearts, always a popular card, probably the one you didn't pick, because the 3 of Hearts changes magically into the 2 of Clubs. That's your card?
No.
So,
no. Sorry.
Okay, so we're not liked by Western magicians, but the Gali Gali men would love us. And somewhere, Shona, in this big, beautiful city, we're gonna find the magicians of Cairo. And that's your card? 3 of Clubs.
That's it. Yes.
Right on his back, the 3 of Clubs. How do you get that card there? And how do you make it so big? Look at, there's mosques and people and falafel stands. Gali 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 Gali! Gali 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 Gali! Gali 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 Gali! Oh!
This is Teller brushing his teeth with bottled water. I mean, Teller has goggles here that he wears in the shower so that he doesn't get stuff in his eyes when he's showering. And he actually put tape over his mouth to shower so he wouldn't get any microbes in there. So, you know, we're Penn and Teller, and we're here in Egypt, so you don't have to go. And don't mind that person there, one of the people that works with us.
We were told that if there were street performers anywhere in Egypt, they would be in the cafes on Muhammad Ali Street in Old Cairo. They come here to swap news and look for work. Hundreds, maybe thousands of years ago. Before Penn and Teller, Ed Sullivan was the guy you counted on to bring the world to your living room.
In New York before going to Europe, and the greatest of all magicians and you youngsters at home are really going to love him, the great Gali Gali. So let's have a nice day.
In 1949, he introduced us to one of the first Gali Gali men to make his way out of Egypt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Look closely. I have right up the table 3 empty cups.
Born Mahgoub Hanafi in 1902 in Port Said, Egypt, the magician known as Luxor Gali Gali comes from a long line of street performers and is one of the rare few to make a name on the world stage. His trademark trick was, indeed, the cups and balls with a little Egyptian twist.
Now I got one more here again. Now it's going to be...
But what of his descendants? We've been told that the Gali Gali men are now gone. They're a thing of the past. But we're not sure that's true. So, being the adventurers that we are, we decided to see if we can find the Gali Gali men, the street magicians of old Egypt, for ourselves. Oh, don't hit the child.
Food.
You know, there's nothing Teller and I like more than embracing a new culture.
We're
not going to eat anything. We have, in our hotel rooms, we have cans and cans of tuna fish shipped over here from Canada.
Well, you know, one of the best things about going to a new place is trying the cuisine,
trying
you
the
know?
food.
I mean, and there's some amazing dishes
And that's
here.
Also a good way to lose 30 pounds.